Hey, Fran Fam, welcome to another edition of the Francine Walker Show. Joining me today is an amazing singer and songwriter out of Toronto, Canada, right across the way from us. So she's our neighbor, Kaisha Lee. Kaisha is has a new single out, and I'm so excited to have her on the show. Let me tell you a little bit about Kaisha. She is the Toronto-born artist that's had music in her soul from a very young age. She loves to stay close to her musical roots in Jamaica. Music has become a part of the artist. The Reggae and Soul Artist digs deep and brings out the heart in her music. Her new single, Survive, is a testament of that. She's performed on many US, Canadian, and international stages, from iHeart Reggae, Showcase Montreal, Toronto, London, UK, New York, and One Love Fest to President Obama's inauguration, forever our president. Performing on her own or with other artists, Kaisha brings the house down each and every time. Her connection with audiences everywhere is instant, and her performance is unforgettable. So please join me in welcoming Kaisha to the show. Good morning. Not good morning. Good evening, Kaisha. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thanks for being here. I'm so excited to talk to you about your new single, your background, how you came to be a singer and songwriter. Tell us a little bit more about yourself outside of what I just read.
Oh, really and truly, music is music is my everything. I've always done music. My spare time, I'm doing music. When I'm working, I'm doing music. Music has just been my everything. I teach piano and voice privately and in a university, college, and and then outside of that, I do my own recordings. And I came up in doing a lot of group things, a lot of choirs, and just all the things that musicians do when they're just starting to come up and figure themselves out. And
Sure.
yeah.
So talk about Survive and what's the inspiration? Forgive me, my dog is excited. My son is coming in. So this is what happens when you have a home studio.
That's okay. I love dogs. Hi. But Survive, I mean, definitely there's stuff there that I went through personally, where the song came from. And in that, I mean, no one is exempt from going through, personal traumas. No matter how good of a life that you may have had, I think everyone has their own story of trauma in some way. I think that's just life, because I think that where there is good, there must be bad. There has to be a balance, and not
Sure.
necessarily to call it bad, but lessons to grow.
Sure.
You can't just be happy all the time. You won't grow. You'll stay right there,
Yeah.
right? And you only experience that level of happiness. But when then you grow forward and you can experience more, right? So
Yeah.
Survive. Yes, I wrote it from a personal place, and I hope that, I guess it was like an affirmation at the time, and I felt what's the word I'm looking for? I felt very strong about saying that to myself. I will survive. I will survive. I will survive. To pull myself up out, right? And I hope that when I wrote a song, that people would sing along and as an affirmation to themselves as well.
Yeah.
Because I want to walk the streets with survivors. I want to walk the streets with people who know they can. So.
And it's so important. Affirmations are so important, especially when we, whether it's from personal trauma, bad experiences, which is about the same thing, but sometimes we take on the attitude or the just the way of thinking from that bad experience. So then our words can be negative, right? So it's like, wait a minute, I need to resort to something positive. So I will survive. I will
Yes.
survive no matter what is, right now I may be in this moment, but I will
Mhm.
survive. So I
Yeah.
get it. It's like, yeah, it may be tough right now, but that your song sounds like it's a light at the end of the tunnel, light at the end of the tunnel by way of your words, by way
Yes.
of the song,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who are some of your musical inspirations, or musical influences, Kaisha?
Um, Uh, There are a lot. There are a lot. My favorite artist ever in the world is Sizzla Kalonji. It's the only artist that I can listen to anytime when I'm going through anything. There's never a time where I don't feel like listening to Sizzla. So that's my favorite artist. But then, I grew up on also not just reggae music, but also soul music and R&B music. My parents had an extensive collection, and so I was, definitely a Mary J. kid, and I love Whitney Houston and all the soul artists that have been coming up. I love them all. So the list is extensive. The list is truly extensive of artists that I kind of look to or probably am influenced by. But everyone I listen to, I'm definitely influenced by. But it is definitely a mix of reggae and R&B that is on my maybe my top 10 if I were to pick one.
Yeah. So it sounds like the your influences are more soulful. From Whitney to Mary J. They had their personal things to overcome. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So their music hit you from a place of heart and soul, where it's like they went through something.
Right, right, definitely. Um, where I guess now where I can't listen to soul music, certain soul music all the time, and where I draw strength and what I love about reggae music, and I mean not all too, but depending on what you're listening to,
Sure.
is I find there's a reality and positive spin on everything, and even if you're speaking reality that doesn't seem specific positive, there's something that lifts you up. For me, anyway, that's how I feel. It lifts me up a little bit more. Sometimes I don't go back to some of my old soul favorites because I feel like it will leave me in a depressive place sometimes, depending,
Yeah. Yeah.
you gotta know where your mind is at and what you're doing, you know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
so I be careful, what I'm listening to and when I'm listening to it, how my spirit feels about it. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's both. It's going back and forth between both for sure.
Oh yeah, that's why you mentioned two of my favorite, um, and that's why even like Aretha Franklin, for me, it's just like she pulls at my soul, and it's like
Really,
whoa,
really.
and even if we didn't go through the same things, it's just the commonality of relating to triumphing over a tribulation. Um,
True. Yep.
so what are some other what are you so you the, the single was released April 16th, so congratulations.
Thank you.
um are you planning to is this a follow are you planning to follow up with a full EP? um
No. Um, I want to and I can. But what we want to do right now is just put out singles still. And I've been saying that for a while, but I've been sort of bouncing between genres and deciding what I want to do and kind of going with the flow of what's happening in the world and with people and trying to, you know, work with all of that. But I think we're just going to put out singles. It seems like people are starting to like Survive. So I think that means that maybe we should, work on a video for that. I have about 3 singles. I don't know which one's going to go out next. Um, and but they'll probably all three might they might all three go out this year. I hope they all three don't go out, but we'll see how it goes. But it's not going to be an EP. It's not going to be album or EP right now.
okay.
We're going to just build on the singles, and try to build up the audience that way. See what people like, and if there is a pull for it, then we can put out the EP. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm told.
the pandemic has really, I like to call it the panini, the panorama, anything the pandemic has really taken a toll on the world an artist.
Yeah.
How has it affected you as an artist?
A great deal, a huge deal, because I can't. Half of the artistry that I had is gone. Right, I can never
Yeah,
perform again. Um, Online, obviously, we can do performances. I haven't really done that yet. I know it's there. Maybe I'm in denial. Maybe I'm in
yeah,
denial that this is what we have to do now. But I was before the pandemic, I was doing corporate singing, so I was singing, in a band for companies and Jewish weddings and doing those things, and so that whole world of work is gone now. So that's income, and that's how to you promote your music. A lot of people, a lot of shows, you're promoting your songs on those shows. You're promoting yourself so that people go and buy your music, so that they
sure.
continue to support the work, right? And none of that is available at this time, right? So we have to rethink what we're doing. I'm
Yeah,
grateful that I've been obsessed with music my entire life, so I can teach. I've studied it, and I'm able to do that. So I'm grateful I have that job, because if I wasn't doing anything in music, I mean, there are other things I would do, and then there are other things I do too. I'm very much into holistic health and all that, but
sure.
music is truly my first love. It is truly my first love. So I'm grateful that I can still do it now. And I feel it for those who are not continuing on it right now, or haven't quite found their step in it yet, because
Sure.
it's difficult to kind of reorganize and decide, okay, what am I doing now? And how do I, push forward with everything that is going on? So, salute to all the artists that are doing that, because it's not easy.
Well, you know what? I was just thinking, as a performer, that, you know, it's the give and take from the audience. And it is kind of hard to make that connection virtually
It,
versus, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
it
it's
is.
like that you want to, it's an experience that isn't, it can't quite be simulated with virtual because it's an energy in the room that you've created, and so it's just that give and take between between you and the audience. So I get it,
Yeah.
because you guys are. Interviewed someone else from Toronto, and you all are still in lockdown or went back into lockdown,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we're on a pretty heavy lockdown right now. We can't be out at a certain time, and we can't buy certain things, and so the lockdown is pretty severe. Not as severe as Jamaica right now, but our
Yeah,
lockdown is pretty up there, probably number two on the list.
yeah. Now, is there anyone else in your family that is musically inclined besides yourself?
No, no, I'm the
Wow.
only one. I'm the oddball in my family.
So you have other brothers and sisters?
Yes, yes, I have
Okay.
sisters.
Okay. Are you the youngest?
No, I'm a middle child.
Okay. The middle child. See, middle childs. We're the best.
Yes, we are.
So I know you have some other singles as well. You mentioned there was one that I heard, it was so beautiful, Outside of Surviving. We're going to listen to that at the end of the interview. My um
My love is rare.
yes, yes, yes. Talk about the influence or the inspiration for that single.
My Love is Rare was that was a breakup song. That was I had a relationship, it didn't go well, and then I wrote that song. I wrote that song to say what I said. And to sort of and to strengthen myself too, to know that, like, I know I gave like a lot in that relationship, and I don't have to say that, oh, I should have, or and so I was mad.
Yeah.
I was well vexed, and so I wrote that song and said those things, and I think they were honest, and I still think it's nice. I like it too. I kind of like it still.
Would you say most of your music is a way of healing for you? As you go through certain things, you write music to pull yourself, to build
well,
yourself back up.
well, here's the thing. In this life, I look at myself as a vessel. So everything that I go through, everything that the Most High allows me to go through, is a lesson that I need to learn. And
Yeah.
if I need to learn that to elevate myself, if I elevate myself, then I'm elevating everybody around me. And if
Sure.
everybody around me, then it just continues, right? So I think I think I have a calling to make sure that I go through and get through and speak about it. I think I have to, and I think in singing about it, I release, yes, and then also whoever people who have also gone through and maybe don't feel strong enough to speak about it can resonate, and maybe that would help them heal, right? So as much as what I write about is, yes, it's a lot of what I've been through, but it's also what I've seen too, because I've written full on love song, affirmation love songs.
Yeah.
That, you know, that it wasn't going like that at the time. It's happened, like Without You. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't even with anybody when I wrote Without You, but it's a beautiful
Yeah.
love song, and it was an affirmation of what I wanted. So I wrote that, right? But I don't look at it as just for me. It has to come from me because I am me. I only know me. I can only vouch for me. I can only, you know what I mean? But I know that I'm not here because of me. I didn't make me. The Most High put me here. So therefore, there's a mission that I need to accomplish. And if I don't share what I'm going through, and sometimes I have an issue with that, sometimes I don't understand how to organize that, and that's fine. I'll get there. I trust that I'll get there. But yeah, I'm going to put these things out there so I can heal, yes. But I know that if I'm healing, somebody else is healing. And that's what I'm supposed to be doing right now on this earth.
Sure. So while you're healing others
Yes.
in some sort, in one form or another.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great to, you know, which explains being an art, which explains one of the ways of being an artist. It's like, I want to share this because even if it is something that will get me through, I have to share it for others to it's because that's what it is. It's in you, and you just got to share it, right? So, what do you see? What's next after Survive?
Survive. There'll be, like I said, a couple more singles. Um, the messaging is it's very affirmative.
Yeah,
It's almost along the same lines. It's growing a little bit out. There is one song I hope that I'll release in the summertime, and I hope it will be appropriate because it's very much a summer fun song.
yeah,
Um, so we'll see what happens. You know,
yeah,
um, we'll
yeah.
see what happens there and what's happening with the time. I had a song last year that was sort of like a partyish song, and I never released it because we went into COVID, and I still don't think it's appropriate to release that song. If I release that song, that's definitely for me. That's not for nobody, and
Yeah.
that's why it won't be released, right? But yeah. So we're gonna gauge it. I'm a very spiritual person. I like to feel out energy. I'm a water sign. I'm a Cancer, and I am led by how I feel, and so although I know that there are about 3 songs that could go out this year, if it's not right, it's not going out. And I'm learning to be more patient too with the music. In the past, sometimes I haven't put out my best, not knowing, or just in a rush, or whatever. So, and I
Yeah.
think in all things, if I could just be patient and take my time a little more, then it's just going to be that much more better, right? So
Right.
I haven't
Yeah.
perfected that, but I'm working on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We're all evolving, right? So the perfection, I guess, or the evolution is just part of life. Whether we're an artist or not. And I think in some forms of fashion, we are artists of our lives, or architects for our lives. You just happen to have a beautiful voice and the ability to write songs, for us as well as yourself. So the evolution comes, but I think the journey is just as beautiful as the outcome, um, for that particular song and what you're trying to say, and the timing.
Mhm.
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
And just like you learned from your past singles, releasing them too soon, it's all imperfect timing, right?
Yeah.
So, um, and it sounds like even you're single right now, it's something that we all need, Kaisha, because last year, this past year, a lot of us if you think about it, we didn't lose a year, we survived a year. A lot of us didn't survive this year. So, and yet we're still here going over a year later, where we're coping, we're managing our trauma, our grief collectively. So here we have a beautiful song that enables us to remind ourselves in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the world at large, from police brutality to racism. It's a lot. And so we need to have music timing that allows us to constantly and remember to sing and to tell ourselves, I will survive. I will survive. I will survive.
Yes.
By way of your music, by way of your words, that is it's just like a musical affirmation. So it's just a reminder. So your timing for this particular single is perfect because we need to remind ourselves, no matter what it looks like, we will survive. And
Yeah.
we have. And we have survived the grief and the grief from the loss of those that didn't. So kudos to you for releasing something for such a time as this. Not to get biblical, but for such a time as this, because we literally, there's so many things we're going through, and we need to hear this. Anything you want to add before we close with the show, with the song?
No, I thank you for, for this, doing this interview and for your insight there. That was like, I feel my spirit just went, oh. It just felt
Oh,
comfortable. What you just said, just like, that was opening for me too. That was beautiful. It was beautiful. So I thank
yeah,
you for that.
yeah. That's just speaking from the heart, just speaking from, listening and hearing your heart and giving it back to you. That's the gift. That's the give and take of your gift, where you put it out there and the audience, your listeners, your fans, um, your tribe receives it, and it's like, oh, this is what this means for me. Kaisha, thank you, because that's what we're going to do. We look at things, look at an artist, and it's like we interpret it from where we are, um, and what we're feeling. So, and it's like, and then we take it and we hold it and we cherish that gift of the song. So, without further ado, we're going to close out the show with the video. Beautiful song, beautiful song, beautiful music. Let me say that your catalog is beautiful.
Thank you.
I did check out your YouTube, um, and just beautiful music. So continue to make beautiful music in your time when you're ready. You're
Yes.
the artist. It's your gift,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
And it truly is a gift. And it's like, don't let anyone push you or exploit that.
Right. Yeah.
So that, but I just, I didn't want to sound like a mama bear,
I
but I know
appreciate
it can be hard in this industry
it.
as a woman,
Hmm.
uh, as a beautiful woman who, where people want to take over, and maybe try and control the output of
Right.
what you're doing and what you're saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Um, anyway, let's go ahead and thank you guys for tuning in and watching. Keisha's new single, Survive, is available on all streaming platforms, Apple and Spotify. And you can check out her other singles on KaishaLee.com. So without further ado, I'm going to cue up producer. Oh, that's me. Producer, here we go. Let's pull it up. Let's see. Here we go. Here we go. Banners. I have to play this off. Okay, let me go here. So here it is.